Okay, so um, welcome back. Right now, after yesterday, I went over to the last couple models from the how to become a business consultant freelancer. Models like how to get started building a freelance consulting career, getting started as a freelance consultant, and ultimately how to find and land high-paying consulting clients. So in this last model, specifically, where I saw that once you know what consulting business is, you find a profitable niche and then you align and create an offer. So you put all of those at practice to get some real feedback from the market by looking by first a couple mistakes to avoid, like focusing too much in your portfolio, running paid ads, and not focusing in your skill. So, especially if you're getting started as a freelance consultant, and if you're new to the field, it is important to be transparent. Tell the client that even though that you're new to the field, that you are driven to provide exceptional results to build your image as a consultant. And also, uh, reach to some sort of agreement, a mutual beneficial agreement, and adjust your price, especially if you're new to them, right? So you might start with, hey, I would like you to offer this price, and with the trade-off, or I would like you to offer is this price offer, and in exchange, can I use your testimonial to build up my image, right? So you can use all of this, uh, and then, well, place where you can find high-paid consulting clients such as Upwork, your existing network, and even though that this is highly contextual, and with Upwork, you're competing against the world. Uh, the whole idea here is to identify business relationship here, okay? Uh, and especially if you're starting to get busy, which is a good thing if you're prepared to, rely on tools like CRM, or this customer relationship management, such as hotspots that allow you to keep track every interaction that you're having with any potential client, sales leads, or prospect. Uh, Also, by having these scheduled meetings, so keep track even the when the client opened an email. So then I also look at the other place where you can find uh, clients, like employment site. Perhaps this is not aligned 100% to freelance, but it can help you to kind of uh, get the foot in front of the door, kind of get your foot wet. So the idea here is that you are able to capitalize and then down the line create your side hustle or your side business, so you can down the road can dedicate full time to your business consulting. Okay. Also, I look at the place, uh, or specifically the consultations tip to land more additional clients. Show your face because you want to create a distinction between yourself from the digital avatar, and remember that this is a numbers game. Having a business, this is something that is that you really need to have a thick skin for it, because it's not going to be sunshine and rainbows. Uh, and the idea is focus on what are you doing right now, and I am putting myself in the best possible position to move forward. So I also look at the consultation sell tips such as listen more, use speed, solution selling process, and add free value. And the whole idea is that look yourself as the missing piece to complete the client puzzle, to, to solve their problems. And by looking at, or when you saw yourself like that, so when you put this business Google, now you can is follow a particular approach, this solution selling process that helps you with the sales funnel, such as you find your the right client, then you start to get in front of them to get their attention, the prospect journey, then you qualify them, and this is all about asking the right questions to see if they want to work with you or if if they're a good fit for you. Then you make a demo or discovery call. Again, this is just to do even more fact findings and to ultimately say, hey, can we work on this, or is this going to end right there so I can move on into the next project? And ultimately, if the client agree, so then you send your proposal and offering is a couple different options that they might go with. So Paul Mendes, the Zero to Mastery instructor, mentioned that if you follow this process, it can help you vastly and avoid to get burned quickly, right? Which is a good thing, which is a real thing, especially if you're not prepared to. And also, especially with clients, tackle objections is half the battle. So the more you're able to listen, asking questions, and be on point, you can figuring out what the real objection is, and from there, tell the client the truth that matters. You are the solution to provide, uh, so that you are the solution to solve their problems. So this objection can be boiled down into time, budget, or value, right? So if the objections are budget, you may offer is a lower uh, option, or hey, have you considered this discount rate? Or if the objection is the value, then you can show that is all of your previous experience. And always following up, right? So what I'm doing here is suing all of this sin, okay? Suing all of these things uh, and apply them to the real world, of course, to get some real feedback and see what are the things that works and those that are not. And well, only take those that are relevant for my particular context. That is something important, especially when you're learning something. Regardless what it be, I will argue that. So regardless what is the thing that you are learning, it is important to see and to think how much of that can be applied to your given context. So also it's important to get creative to stand out with your proposal, and you don't want to uh, get ripped off by the market. So you need to get serious about money. And here is when it comes this how to handle client payments. And again, this is a mistake that most freelancers and consulting does, especially when they're starting out, because he wants to have control of it from the start. So they also show is a particular process to invoice client. get the service agreement signed. And the thing here is that don't guarantee any result. Just simply put that you're going to provide the best effort to give them a high quality product or a high quality service. And also to secure the payments and define is the payment terms. So anything that is outside of the scope of that, the client needs to be very well aware of that. And even though if they want to, well, they have to pay you for that. Then you secure the payment terms based on depends on what you're gonna do. Let's say your offering is a hourly rate, and then you may want to get those payment weekly or bi-weekly, or you tell the client, hey, I will offer you is a project milestone. So I will ask you for 50% upfront to start working on that. And even though the client comes with some excuse, or you tell them that you can start working with them if they're not sick. If both of you are not Jesus. So I can start work with you if we're not if we cannot secure that payment. Once that is done, then I think you started to offering your consulting service. So, which is this section. Then also look at the place where you can invoice your clients, for example, Upwork, Fiverr. Uh, they do that all for you. And place like, or when you find client outside of that realm, you can use invoice like PayPal, QuickBooks, or Soho, which is something that I'm familiar with. And ultimately, I also see an example of that. And then I look at this scaling to multiple consulting clients. And again, this is something that when I saw the Alex Ramosi videos when he explained things like business risk and the importance of scaling or why most business fail or are worthless is because they offering a tailored solution, which is the things that happen when you offering is a solution selling process. Okay, uh, that solution selling process is great for any business to business with some sale process when they have prospect or clients that need a tailored solution, which is not bad, all right. But if you're offering that to multiple clients, if you're offering a tailored solution for each one of your client, then your business become worthless because it's not scalable and it is hard to maintain. You know, so that's why most of the product out there they offer is you a couple package, okay, or a tier higher where you can choose which one of them you would like to. Most of them rely on the subscription model because after all that things work. Uh, so in any case, so the next step, once you know, also the next step is once you landed some clients, you know how to send service agreement, you know how to secure payments, you start to get some progress. you started to have, if you started to get some progress, you have to remember that scale to multiple clients is the ultimate goal. So in my case, since I offer this uh, service, okay, as a Vue Node.js developer, that is particularly field, uh, that'll be basically rely on, yeah, that'll be basically relying on maintenance and feature development, right? And also it's like understanding what the project is, know what is that. So the issue that I'm looking for most of those projects is that they have large problems uh, when it comes to migration. That is one of the niche of that, you know. That's one of the niche. So migrations. So if you can specialize yourself to migrate from Vue 2 to Vue 3, uh, that might be a great starting point to start offering your service, right? So instead of offering is something that is huge and global, okay, you might offering is a migration, which is very very delicate and narrow, specific to projects. Again, since this is a customer tailored solution for each one of them, uh, might be not a good scalable business in the long run. Why? Because uh, making migration from Vue 2 to Vue 3 for each one of different projects is something that is quite challenging, okay? And you're actually solving is one issue here, the scalability of Vue 2 and Vue 3, or the migration from Vue 2 and Vue 3. That might be one of them. So migrations are very, very, very sensitive topic. The audience of that are most of the time developers and companies. So that might be a good niche as well. So yeah, right now I'm thinking. Right now I'm thinking here, uh, what might be a particularly good offering to scale your product or to scale to multiple clients. Okay, building an e-commerce is an easy way to do that, right? Especially if you're starting to offering is part of your personal brand signature. Yeah, might be one of them. Okay. And well, this is the overview of the whole uh, third course. So once you have landed some additional clients, you know how to send service agreement, how to uh, invoice or how to secure payment clients. You started to get some progress. It is important to remember that the scale to multiple clients is the ultimate goal, and you know what. So this is how you grow your business, and you will turn into a steady flow of income. Because once you have multiple clients to pay you in multiple different companies, different industry, let's say, that will help you diversify your revenue, and you also have multiple sources of income. It is funny because most of the things the entire economy is based on consumption. Uh, um, those who have the largest reserves or the highest wealth are are a good target. Are a good target. Like who else, man? Or them. And to offer a solution to there is because you need to be very keen, smart, and articulated to provide them a solution to a problem. Okay, or you offer is a low level service, or you offer is a massification of some low level product. Okay, so for example, Cheetos and shit like that. It's like Coca Cola, Pepsi. So actually, it's like we generally don't need them, but we consume them. So yeah, that's part of the dynamic when uh, clients and people need to be smart on the decision they made. And how important is that? Because it has real consequence. In real consequence. In any case. So yeah, uh, after I mentioned that, uh, so one key to scale your business is simple: delivery a top quality product. Remember that your reputation is everything, and people spend on things that they trust and like. So customer relationship management here. Okay, if you struggle with, remember that it's all about getting leads and repeat the process. Remember to get business lead, show them value, build up your reputations, and repeat. So okay. Uh, so then I look at the section 4, how to conduct proper research as a freelance consultant. Since data is an incredibly powerful and has the ability to inform, persuade, and or reinform or to reinforce your viewpoint, how it also can be misleading. So here I'm looking at how to conduct proper research and gather quality data. Something that I'm quite familiar with, especially if you conduct a research for a consulting project. Uh, the the way of to conduct a research and gather quality data. Remember, the context here is conduct a research for a consulting project. Okay, this is the context. Conduct a research from a consulting project. So to conduct a research, okay, so when you conduct a research for a consulting project, there are a couple of type of data that you can gather, and it is important to understand which data is the most valuable and which one is the least valuable. So, which data is the most and least valuable? Okay. Uh, so you have first party data. Okay. To get into this type of data, the first party data is the data that is collected from the company of the client that you're working. Okay. So first party data is the data that is collected for the company of the client that you're working on. So this type of data is the most valuable and usually confidential. So the client will usually want you to sign an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, because they're going to share your first-party data, and this is data that is relevant for your consulting project to make that research, okay, to conduct that research. So getting historical data as far as back as they have is very helpful to see what they have done in the past. to help influence your decision and recommendations. Help you influence, so help influence your decision and recommendation by gathering historical data as far back as they have is very helpful. So because I saw, this is from another course, making a quick tangent here. Looking historical data over the past 94 years from the capital market return starting from 1926 to 2001, and also historical data from the market contraction and expansion starting from 1973 to 2021. Getting data or looking at this data as far back, or looking at this historical data, uh, has provided me insights that can influence my decisions and recommendation. So, for example, if I'm offering my consulting service to a company, it is important to know the type of data that where you can get, and the most valuable and the most and least valuable. First party data is data that is collected from the company and that the client is shared with you. It is confidential, so you need to, or the client wants you to usually sign a NAD because they're going to share all of this third party data. So getting historical data as far back as they have is helpful. Yeah, it's very helpful. So getting historical data as far back as they have is very helpful to see what they have done in the past and to help influence your decision and recommendation. So example of this, for example, if you're working with a company uh, that the simple example, you're working with an e-commerce company and you see that they have some issue rendering a particular website. They have a particularly issues rendering a product, right? A product banner. So what you can do is uh, getting historical data as far back as they have to see what they have done in the past and to help influence your decision and recommendation. Okay. So again, this is part of the looking at their business process. Okay. So what they have done in the past. Okay. What you have done in the past, uh, and from there help me influence my decisions and recommendations. Okay. So getting the data as far back as they have, especially this is from a consultant. And when I worked for a journey, which it was a startup, they hired a consultant to identify as part of this business process. Okay, especially why is so slow. You know why the development of process is so slow. You know, and then well, he slowly identify which is the root of the evil, and then fire up people that are not efficient, and they don't know what they do, right? So this is kind of the same thing here as a consulting when you conduct a research. And again, part of the task that consulting does is conducting research, analyzing the data, uh, and then presenting the results. So, okay. So this model is focuses on how to conduct proper research as a freelancer. Question is, are you going to dive deep into how to analyze the data? No? Okay. Are we going to dive deep into the how to conduct or how to analyze data? Hmm? That's interesting. Okay, that'll be interesting. Yeah, that'll be interesting. So, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, mm, 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 mm. Okay. Yeah, I'm not following. It's also my own advice from this course specifically, like eliminate distractions, don't do multitasking. Okay, now I'm here. Okay, um, great, great. Uh, so the question that I asked it was, are you guys tell me how not only how to conduct a proper research, but also how to analyze the data, how to create an efficient, how to create effective and appealing consumer reports, create reports with Canva, data visualization, communication tips for consulting, how to use A/B testing as a consultant, top benefit provided by building your personal brand, building an online presence and producing content, kind of the thing what I'm doing right now, how to embrace collaboration as a consultant, building a community for maximum impact. Mm. So allegedly, I think here that since in this section for on how to conduct a proper research, they're going to show me is how to do that and gather quality data, how to create effective and appealing consumer reports, Meaning is like presenting results, okay, and analyze the data. Of course, the analytic skill, okay, the analytic skill is something that is up to you. But in my case, here, this, because it's how do you interpret your, uh, how do you interpret the data that you gather? I think that this is part of this. Okay, I think this is part of this, and how to conduct proper research. Okay, 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 okay. So first, I look at how to okay. So right now, I'm looking at how to conduct proper research and gather quality data. So when you conduct a research for a consulting project, it is important to understand the type of data that you can get from the most and least valuable. So in this context, is the consulting uh, project. The first party data, which is the data that is collected from the company that is sharing to you, and they usually want you to sign a NAD. Uh, it is helpful for you to look as far data as they have in the past to influence your decision and recommendation. Okay, again, this is the most valuable data that you can get. Okay, the next type of data is the second party data, and this is collected from different type of source, whether it is paid or free, and it's very beneficial because it comes from a trustworthy source. For example, uh, right now I'm looking is on how to become a business consulting freelancer from a trustworthy source, uh, where they have is a great record of success and testimonial. Okay, again, those testimonials are relevant to them, right? Not to me. Uh, but it can show you at least how this academy, Zero to Mastery, and their student that they have the will and to move on in this digital or to have a digital career, and then well they present that, so they are living testimonial of that path. Okay, okay. So this second party data here, and again, all of this is related to the source, trustworthy source, right? So right now, I'm becoming, or I will say that I'm becoming a zero to mastery ambassador, uh, without getting paid for that, because I took several measures, decisions, habits to learn this uh, in-demand skills such as development and design, a combination of them, that have proved me right, because otherwise I wouldn't be here recording this video. Okay, in fact, I will be struggling and dedicating perhaps my life as a Twitter warrior. Fuck man. Okay, so in my case, yes. So I become a trustworthy source because all the actions and the habits and the decision that I made has proved me a testimonial for that. I am a living testimonial for that. Okay, okay, all right. And again, so going back here, when you conduct a research to a consulting project and identifying is a type of data from the mm, most valuable to the least valuable, first party data, which are data collected from the company, and they usually share with you uh, with a NDA contract. And looking at this historical data, okay, and yeah, to look at the historical data to help you influence your decision and recommendations. Okay, so now you have this first party data, the most valuable data, and they usually are confidential. So clients like you sign a NDA before work with them. Uh, and the thing of this is that the more you're able to look as far data as they have and as far back as they have that data, it is helpful for you because it can improve your decision and recommendation. So it can influence your decision and recommendations. And with second party data, which is collected from different sources, whether they are paid or free, it is very beneficial since this is from a trustworthy source when they are not anonymous, when they have a great record, research report, peer review, and then you want to keep two set of notes, one from the first party data and for the second party data, and the third party data is the least valuable source since the quality of their source are not always verified. And it is usually this type of data are behind a paywall. And you may not know every single author. Okay. Perspectives. Especially when you conduct a research, do that from different perspective or context, and you always and you always play devil advocates. You always play devils advocates with yourself. So nothing is black or white. Gather as much relevant information as possible. Take notes and keep record of every source you obtain. Right? Take notes and keep record of every source you obtain. Okay, you know what? This is something helpful. This is something helpful. All right. This is something helpful, especially because once I conduct a research called the micro frontend, okay, which is something that is already on demand, and most of the company are pushing things forward. And to mention some image consulting called Kevin Samuels, that Manhattan won't be the same, and all of those financial centers, Tokyo, New York, London, Paris, Madrid, Abu Dhabi, they have changed forever. And this pandemic showed them, right? So they are not the same. So why I'm talking to that? Because especially when I'm conducting a research and see the particular pattern that micro fronting, which is a new architecture designed to build applications among different frameworks, React, Angular, and Vue, and then compile them to a single file, okay, or something that can be run on the browser, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. This is part of the automation process or the integration process of different areas of knowledge for that. You know what? That might be a very interesting. Yeah, that might be a very interesting use case for that. You know, that might be a very interesting project for the next 2 months, right? That might be a very interesting project for the next 2 months. And this is something that is, yeah, it's starting to be an on demand, you know, starting to be on demand, or it's going to be on demand as well, especially for companies where they want to integrate is different developers from different frameworks that they are familiar with different frameworks, React, Vue, Angular, to compose the front. Okay, so front end composition. So much like in the backend or the devil where you have this microservice, that might be one way to do that. Or that is much like the in the front end, where they want to bring microservice to the front end. So front end composition. Okay. So let me roll this. Okay, so front uh, project uh, micro front end. Yeah, project micro front end. Project micro front end. Micro project build an e-commerce classic one. So build an e-commerce with micro front end. Yeah, so build an e-commerce with micro front end. React and Nuxt. And record the process. Okay, this is something interesting. This is something interesting. And with that, I wish you the best. Take care. Bye bye.